The labors of Hercules. Focus question. Was Hercules a hero? Which of his actions were heroic and which were not? Words to know. Calculated, cautiously, feats, height, immorality, labors, nymphs, penis, pillar, prudence, peril, and temporary. Connections, writing and art. Imagine that you're Hercules. Choose one labor and write a journal entry about completing that task, including how you accomplished it and how you felt about it. Social study. Research Greek monopolies to learn about other Greek heroes such as Achilles and Thetis. Write a short essay comparing this heroic to Hercules' labor. Table of content. Introduction. Page 4. Hercules' strength and resourcefulness. Page 6. Hercules' restraint and prudence. Page 8. Hercules' inability. Page 10. Hercules the immortal hero. Page 13. And glossary. Page 16. Introduction. The legendary labors of Hercules are one of the most beloved myths of the ancient Greeks and Romans. Hercules was the child of Jesus, the king of gods, and a mortal woman, Alyms. The goddess Hera, Zeus' wife, was angry that Zeus had a children with Alyms. She wore revenge on both Alyms and her child instead of Zeus. Hera sends witches to torment Alyms in childbirth. She also sends snakes to murder the infant Hercules in his crib. Strong even as a baby, Hercules strangled the snakes and survived. However, Hera didn't give up. Tortured by Zeus' infidelity, she watched Hercules grow up, searching for ways to cause him pain and suffering. When he married, Hera hit upon one of her cruelest strategies. He caused Hercules to give into a fit of violence for a short time. When Hercules regained his senses, he saw his dead family. He had murdered his wife and children. Heartbroken, he pleaded the god of Apollo to cleanse his spirit. Apollo sentenced Hercules to perform 10 labors for the king Eurystheus of Menestheus. These tasks required strength, dedication, and intelligence. The stakes were high. If Hercules fell, he had to live with the stain of his crime. If he succeeded, however, he would gain forgiveness in his own eye and those of the god. Only then would he be able to move forward in his life. Hercules' strength and resourcefulness. Hercules faced mythical creatures that had supernatural powers and immortality. He also encountered strong and vicious beasts. He used a combination of strength, courage, creativity, and skill to defeat them. His first labor was to overcome a Nemean lion. The lion would kidnap a young woman and use her as a bait to draw warriors to her rescue. As men approached, it would leap out and attack them. Hercules began his attack by firing arrows from far straight to the lion's heart, but it only bounced off its hide. When he threw his spear, the weapon didn't penetrate either. Finally, Hercules picked up his club and chased the lion into a cave. He blocked off the opening so the lion could not escape. He jumped into its back, dodging fierce claws and sharp teeth. Wrapping his powerful arms around the lion's neck, he choked it until it lacked breath. When the lion was finally dead, Hercules tried to skin it. However, none of his tools were sharp enough. Finally, we used one of the lion's own razor-sharp claws to skin the animal. Hercules went on to defeat Hera, an enormous many-headed snake, a powerful boar, and vicious man-eating vultures. He was forced to change his method each time he fought, often turning his challenger's weapon against them, just as he had with the Nemean lion. As Hercules accomplished each labor, Ares grew more afraid of Hercules. He did not allow Hercules to become his palace. Instead, the king issued all his command through a messenger. When Ares learned that Hercules had received a payment for 2 of his labor, he increased the number of labors from 10 to 12 at Hera's insistence. Hercules' restraint and prudence. However, some of Hercules' labor had to be accomplished through restraint and prudence. In fact, Hercules had also learned not to take needless risks. For the third labor, Arcturus decided Hercules bring him a Satyrian. This deer was a special pet of the Artemis, goddess of the moon, wild animals, and the hunt. Hercules knew that he could not risk anchoring Artemis by killing the deer. Carefully and patiently, he tracked the hind, waiting for the beast to tire. After a full year of hunt, he closed in as it was sleeping. Cautiously, he threw a net over it, tied up, and set off for Minos. Artemis was understandably engaged with the capture of her pet. Hercules was honest with her, explaining how he had defeated violence and not killed his family, how he had taken his own labors as a penance, and finally now Rhodes had demanded that he capture the hind. Anonymous had compassion for the suffering hero. She allowed him to take the hind. However, he gave the condition that he return the hind after the labor. Hercules kept his word to the goddess. In his ninth labor, Hercules traveled to the land of the Amazons. He had to bring back the belt of Hippothoe, the queen of this tribe fierce animal warrior. Hercules took an army of friends with him. He hoped not to fight the Amazons, but instead to visit in peace. As the ship drew near shore, Hercules shouted, "Hippothoe, I have a favor to ask you." The Amazonian warriors looked at one another, and their spears did not waver. A woman emerged from the ranks. "I am Hippothoe," he called to Hercules. "What is your errand?" Hearing his tale, Hippolytus was sympathetic, and he agreed to grant him the belt to him out of compassion. All seemed well, and Hercules and his army feasted with the Amazons. But Hera passed among the Amazons in disguise, whispering that Hercules was about to betray the trust and kidnap the queen. In response, the Amazon doomed their armor. Rather than reach an understanding with the Amazon, Hercules killed Hippolytus and took the belt from her. He fell to his ship to the belt and a heavy heart.